All right, we're gonna find out how good of a mechanic I am today. Customer tells me my saw runs fine, starts fine, and when it's in the cut, for no reason at all, it just shuts off. So what we got is a 661. This unit's about 3 years old, low use. He does do some milling with it. So let's try and recreate the problem first, and then we'll talk about the solution. All right, I warmed the saw up. It's been running for about 45 seconds. I revved it a little bit and just cut into the wood. I'm gonna stop here and time lapse it because I don't know how long this is gonna take for it to fail, and then we'll recreate it. Well, it did exactly what he was talking about. It shut off. I was starting to finish that cut, and as I was coming out, it just went buh. Let's do it in real time and see if it'll repeat itself faster. By the way, the saw is running perfect. It's no issues at all, other than, well, it just shuts off. There we have it. Let's try it one more time. Because here's the funny thing, it starts right back up. Never took my finger off the trigger. Let's take it inside and see what's up. All right, so that's what came out of the tank, and this is an unrelated, I'm just gonna make this brief. Like I said, he's using this for milling. You can see the super small fines. If you're gonna mill, you gotta be more than 50 to 1. It's really some of the hardest work you'll do. And if we can get a good look at this piston, it's probably like the hardest shot to get. Because it won't focus on the piston surface. So here's what I can tell you. Here.
Steel's never going to give you a deal.
I know, Steel's going to come after me for this one. Actually, it's not bad. There's no coking because this thing's been run full tilt boogie. Okay, think about it. You're wide open throttle for extended period of time. Anything's going to burn clean. But what I see at the top of the piston, there's some light scratches in there, and the piston itself is dry as a popcorn fart. There's no film of lubricant. You know, it's just 50 to 1 just is good enough to pass emissions. I don't recommend running anything else less than 40 to 1. You're just going to get better lubrication. All right, enough of that for this segment. And I'll try and insert a picture, if I can get a decent picture of the piston, to show you what I'm talking about. All right, another thing that really chaps my ass. The dealer sends a 661 out the door, and you see, crap, where's it at? There's that pin. It is not pushed in. So that's only half of the oil output. That pin's there as a restrictor. And if you've got anything more than a 25-inch bar, it will not oil it properly. So I'm gonna punch that down. I've done other videos. You just need, here, won't focus, there it is. So you just push down that spring roll pin, and then you can get the other quarter turn. All right, that's all better now. We've got full range, and it's just 2 seconds. I mean, I just use that punch right there and just tap on it with a hammer lightly until it's flushed to the bottom of the oil pump housing. All right, let's talk about the components of M-Tronic. So you've got an ignition coil in here. All right, you got your line to your spark plug, and then you have a wiring harness that goes from here to the carburetor. And on the carburetor, you've got a, let me get something to point with. You've got a fuel solenoid right there. That meters the amount of fuel that you put in. And then this doohickey right here is your throttle position sensor and temperature sensor. There's also wires that jump from the main harness to here. But anyway, we're going to replace this temperature sensor slash throttle position sensor. At any point in time, if there's a compromised wire, or it's more likely to not start. It will pop a couple of times, but not start. So what happens is when it pops, it starts to create electricity. You got spark, and then the electricity created by the extra set of magnets. If it doesn't catch a signal between the carb and the coil, it won't allow it to start because there's no way for it to adjust. So it's just shut it off. Obviously ours runs, and I think we have a bad component right here. All right, so here's a better look at what this piece is, and it does directly go to the fuel solenoid. We're going to take these two T15 screws off, and I've got a fresh one. We're going to swap in and see what happens. All right, carb's back in. I can't stress enough to remind you, if you're working on this stuff, make sure where they give you places to plug or to clamp the wires back in, make sure that they're all tucked in nice and neat. You don't want to pinch these wires. The silicone insulation on the outside of that wire, it doesn't take a whole lot to hurt that wire. And if you have a hurt wire, then you got more problems. All right, I returned the customer's fuel to customer's saw. So that way, the only variable that we've done, by the way, without using the MDG, without using the diagnostic tool, the only thing we've done is replace that module, which is about a quarter, even though this is still expensive, it's about a third of the cost of a brand new carburetor. And you know, look at this saw, man, it's got no use on it. It doesn't need a new carburetor. It needs a new module. So it's still going. I feel very good about it running and not shutting off. And that nonsense down there is why you always have a good path of exit. I did not clear. Shame on me. I'd say we have success. Back at the shop, another ADD break. You have a roller chain catcher like that, and you see how this is on there? I was trying to tighten down the screws, and it's binding. So loosen up, loosen this up just a touch, so that can now lay in there where it's comfortable, and retighten those. So that way, every time if you have this roller catcher, that you don't have the recurring issue of fighting getting the side cover on. All right, let's wrap this up. This is a very rare problem on 661s. I've worked on hundreds of them. This is only the second time that I've had this issue. When the customer called me and said, hey, here's what it's doing, and I said, I know exactly what it is. Because the first time this happened to me, it went to the 3 steel dealers in my area, and they didn't get to the bottom of the problem. I'm sure the customer was charged for all 3 trips. And basically, you know, I could hook it up to the MGD. I own that. Here, hold on. You know, this is not a magic wand. You still, I mean, basically I had to get down to, because when I'm testing it, and obviously it runs and everything, so there's no issues. You know, it shows me in the fault codes that it shuts off. It doesn't say why. So basically went one at a time, you know, with my own 661, and just had to part swap it until something stuck. You know, I almost forgot about it was the last thing I replaced. It was the only thing. Like I said, you've only got the ignition coil, the wiring harness, the solenoid, and then that module that we replaced that's on the side of the carburetor. This is rare, but I hope this helps someone down the road. Throw me some comments down at the bottom. I hope you enjoyed this video. I try to keep it moving pretty good, and I'll see you on the next one.